to watch today, because we plan to rock your morning. And of course, it was a blessed day yesterday. The fact that you're alive, you can see, you can hear, you can speak, you can move about, that alone shows that God has showered his blessings upon you this morning. And I'm grateful that you can watch us. Of course, it's myself, Bright, and Johnny right from now till 9 a.m. I'm sure you won't change the station because we plan to rock your morning. Good morning, Bright.
Yeah,
he's busy writing.
Well, it's clerical
Is he a check
officer,
you're writing
so I'm just trying to put together a few. But I hand over your weekend check very soon.
Thank you.
It's a fat one, so just relax. Good morning, Ghana. It's a Thursday morning, a very wonderful Thursday morning. The week has just gotten to an end. My weekend starts. I don't know how or when yours is starting, I guess tomorrow. But of course, Thursday, Friday, they are twins, if that's how you want to take a look at them. But a wonderful Thursday morning, a lot of issues to talk about, a lot of ways we can get you to be part of active society. And that's exactly what we're going to do from now till 9 a.m. when we leave your studios or our studios. And so stay with us, because a lot about that incident we've been talking about, exactly how will people take that. The man at the center having been given some 9 months in the cooler. We also told of the Auditor General getting ready to collect some money from some people. But exactly what has gone into all that? There's a lot of issues this morning. Yeah. We're told the AG is not a wild man. I don't know how wild he is. But Johnny is here. Good morning, Johnny.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Speaking of the AG, I mean, I thought that, well, prior to his appointment, and in fact around his appointment, many thought that it was a last-minute appointment and all of that. But I think that he's bringing some confidence to the office of the Attorney General. For me, this must also mean a critical thing to the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament, so that we don't get to hear, go and sin no more. But he is asking that 4 people pay monies that were wrongly expended with interest at the current rate. And so if that continues, it will serve as a deterrent.
Very soon they're numbering 11, because that's at the end of yesterday. He said he has some 7 more to add. So yes, we're looking at it.
Now, the thing is that if in such situation you are giving the amount to pay and you're not able to pay it, and you're a man of straw, you go to jail. You will. So if 2 or 4, 5 people go to jail, we'll get to know
things right.
Exactly. So for me, I'm happy that this is happening. Yes, I'm happy. Very, very happy.
Well,
we all are.
So let's see if it's not too early yet. But another sad situation is still on our hands. The health minister telling the nurses that even if you put a knife to my neck, I can't employ you. Well, I don't know. I really don't know.
He doesn't have money to pay them?
Well, it's an excuse he's given. I don't know exactly how that excuse can hold, but he says that when he got into office, some names have already been submitted for these nurses, private trained nurses, and so there is nothing he can do. I don't really understand what he means by there's nothing he can do. You said you got to the office, and some names have been are already there for private nurses.
Right.
But apparently, there are others who were not captured by that list. And he says there's nothing he can do. I don't know if he should rather have told them that, okay, this is a situation, so I'm beginning a new process to get all of you on the list.
Right.
But he says, I can't employ. I don't know if he knew that's what.
Are they still bonded?
These are private nurses. These are private nurses. I don't know if they also have.
Okay, but I'm sure that they have an arrangement with the Ghana Health Service that, okay, because of the shortfalls they have in the main line, they get their services to come and pass. So if you tell them that you can't do anything about it, I mean, really.
Exactly. And for me, I want to really understand what the challenge with the Ministry of Health is. Because first of all, we realize the challenges oftentimes were with clearance, and that doesn't really come from Ministry of Health. So that was fine. We put it on finance. Now you say, I mean, we know that we have a shortage of nurses all over Ghana. And so when the private universities or private schools, nursing schools, came up, we never clamped them down because we thought we were going to train and that would give more numbers to employ. Now they're done, they've come out, and you say you can't employ them. Is it because we don't have the space to accommodate them? Is it because you don't have the money to pay them? What exactly are the challenges? For me, it's funny because the nurses insist that those in the public sector have been captured and they've been, they've been posted. So was it a way to sort of tell the private nurses that really you went to do your own thing, so sort yourself out? Is it that you want them to find jobs for themselves as against them coming through Ministry of Health to be employed? If that's the case, then I think right from scratch they should be made to understand. Then they know, okay, when you go to a private nursing school, you become like anybody else. You go out there on the job market and search for a job. But when you give them that assurance that once they come out of school, you will give them a job, then it behoves on you to fulfill that. And I think that's where the confusion,
that's why I'm asking, are they bonded? If they are not, then, I mean, and even still,
it seems they still are. From the sense of how they talk, I understand there still is some bond. That's where I need the clarification. So
Look,
we're talking to the Ministry of Health.
But you see, running PR for the Ministry of Health, the Ghana Health Service, the minister shouldn't have said what he said. I mean, if people are picketing there for 2-3 days, they are eating. We saw the photos there. And you tell them that even if they, whatever they do,
they put a knife to you.
You can't really employ them.
The whole situation is funny for me. Now, this is the minister's issue. When he got into office, there was already a list that he said was put there by the former administration of private nurses. And so the processes to clear them had started. Now, he said that according to what I heard him say, if the list is in Ama's name, Ama, give Ama clearance. It cannot be changed to give Bright clearance. That is what he said. We understood.
Agreed.
Now, he goes on to say that because he's working with that list, those who are now picketing, whose names are not on the list, can even go and put a knife to his neck. And yet, there's nothing he can do. And that's what I don't understand.
Because if their names are on their list,
wouldn't it have been better to say that, okay, this is the situation. So it means that in your case, you would have to wait for me to start another process. Instead of saying
within which to capture you for clearance.
But you see, Bright, once your name appears on the list, it means that you have gotten financial clearance for the Ministry of Finance.
That's what he's
saying. So you are ready to be employed. Now, if you're ready to employ, and the man who's supposed to employ you says he can't employ you, then what's the essence of your financial
clearance? What I'm understanding
that is not it. Those whose names are on the list
that he will employ
to be employed. But those who picketed yesterday, their names are not on the list. And the minister says that the list he has is an old one that the processes had started. So those who are picketing are not on the list. So I'm thinking that all that he needed to do was to tell them, okay, this is the situation. I have to start a new process to get you on the list. So let me have your names and then we can begin. But this issue of I can't employ you, I am not getting it. Look, the nurses are saying that. This is all that they are saying. If you listen to them yesterday, they said that if the ministry had told them that go and come another day, we'll sit there and talk. They said they would have been happy. But to say that you can't employ us, they said they're going to continue picketing until they are employed. And so I don't get really what the ministry is talking about. Maybe they need to tell us more than that.
Well, so good morning to you, Minister for Health. We trust that you are alive and well this morning. Yes, please. This is a situation on our hands. You see, the point is that if you're trained as a professional, there's nothing else you can do. If you're a nurse, you're a nurse. You can't be a carpenter. You can't be a carpenter. You can't be a mason. So please, let's look at how to solve this national problem, as opposed to just telling the people that, even if you put a knife to my neck, we can't employ you. That's a not sir. Good morning.
Good morning. So Daily Graphic says Ghana aims at customs clearance in 4 hours. That's coming from the Vice President on page 16 of Daily Graphic. Mawako supervisor jailed 9 men, also on page 22. Then President swears in 5 envoys. AG goes wild, chases looters of public funds. Also, properties of the dead won't be spared. And that's coming from Mr. Daniel Domlevo, the Auditor General. Even the dead.
As I said, he's brought some confidence there. And I hope that the Parliamentary Select Committee and Public Accounts Committee will take a cue from that. Because this is what anti-graft analysts or advocates have been calling for. And now we have this. So if people owe us money and they are paying back with interest, I'm sure that it will deter other people from wanting to expend monies that they are not supposed to be expending. So early days yet, as Bright said, but we hope that it continues. We hope that he stays on it, and every now and then we'll have him name people and perhaps even refer the criminal bit of it to the CID for prosecution, proper prosecution.
Well, that is the AG's work. I am hoping that this is indeed not one for the cameras or for the radio microphones or for the pens of newspaper journalists. It is too early yet. I would have wished that this had been done on another level and at an appropriate time when we are perhaps gotten to real action where we are retrieving money and property or whichever way, then it would have been told in the media. I'm just praying that Mr. Domelevo was not pushed under any pressure to organize that press conference. For me, it was needless.
Well, he said that, I mean, his workers, and even including himself, they have their own political parties that they support. But when it comes to work with the Auditor General, they don't do the bidding.
But I'm not talking about politics. I'm saying that daily.
But who could be mounting pressure on him to do that?
Well, before Occupy Ghana has gone to court, they won a case that gave him the impetus to go ahead and deal with this. Perhaps he needed to let people know that I am indeed working.
Well,
that's why he might have rushed the media.
That's what I'm saying, that, look, perhaps he's bringing back some confidence to the office of the Auditor General.
I have no qualms
because
about it.
the Auditor General does his audit, all right, as we know. They publish the reports. They tell us who spent what wrongly. And it ends there. One would have thought that, well, we would have that referred to the police to carry on, and then we would have people jailed. There are people who even appear before the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament. They agree and they accept that they have wronged us. They have spent our monies wrongly or misappropriated it. Nothing happens to them.
I have no qualms about that. That is what we should do. But what I'm saying is that, for me, I am hoping he was not pushed into holding this press conference to create the impression that he is indeed working and that this process that he has started is indeed one that we will see a stop to people who steal public money and go scot-free. Now, what he has started is supposed to end with Parliament. He's supposed to, at the end of the year, write a report and submit to Parliament. And that is where then we will know who owes what. Okay, so I'm hoping that it's indeed a good sign and that it will be carried on and not just once in a while and then the next time we hear there are challenges in his way.
The Morocco gentleman, I think that finality has been brought to that issue. We've been talking about it for a long time. Finality has been brought to that issue. And yesterday his lawyer said, well, they may appeal. They may put in an application for bail first of all before they appeal. He was charged, sentenced on 2 counts, 1 causing harm and 2 assault. In fact, 1 was for 6 months, 1 was for 9 months, but they're supposed to be run concurrently. So he gets 9 months in the cooler. I hope this serves as a deterrent one more time to foreigners who maltreat their local workers. And it's a daily occurrence. In fact, there's a gentleman, some Courage Nemo or so, who put out a list of people who abused, foreigners who have abused locals, you know, gory stuff. Some Italian who chained a worker out there in the sun. Some Chinese who put human excreta in a bucket that the workers drink from, and the workers had to drink from. So many of them. And there are some that go unreported. I remember a situation about Peter Pan where I called a gentleman who was slapped with hot pizza. The gentleman, after some time, says, well, he's not interested in the matter. Because, truth be told, Evelyn Boachi now, because of this, may not find a job. Now, is she getting workman compensation for that? You know, so
well, they didn't give us details about the compensation, but obviously, I mean, the family seems to have put a front where they feel some justice has been served. So we do wish her well, hoping moving forward, again, it serves as a deterrent for anybody. For me, it's not really about him being a foreigner, but you should understand that you can't treat a human being in a way that is inhumane and go away scot-free.
Yesterday, I'm sure you listened to the late edition show on 3FM 92.7. There was a gentleman who was in studio, the man who started a petition for justice for Evelyn Boachi, and he says he had a situation where somebody had left the employment of a foreigner and got into the employment of another foreigner. Now, this foreigner, his ex-employer, came to meet, he was a friend of of the new employer came to meet him, and then they will exchange pleasantries. When he went back, they sacked them, the guy. So he went back to ask him why. And then they said, well, your former employer said when you were there, you stole from us, you did this, you did this. So he brought all the letters of resignation, the response from the company and all of that, and still they won't budge. And in fact, they got him arrested for 48 hours, kept shoved behind bars for no offense. He was not charged. It took that gentleman and some lawyers to get him out. So that injustice still goes on because people have money. They use their money to bully people, and we need to look at it. For me, our social protection structure is not proper, and I'm saying that there are people who go to SNIT who say, come and tell us who is not paying your social security. You go there and you report, and the next day, an employee of SNIT will call that company, and before you get to work, your boss will say, and then you'll be sacked.
Johnny, stay right on that.
On that one, I prefer to go Ame's way by saying that some justice had been done. For me, I think this matter has not been closed. I will urge Evelyn and her family to go on and file a civil suit. I mean, look,
against
yes, because at the end of the day, I mean, if the guy goes to jail for 9 months and what, Evelyn perhaps might not be able to work anywhere at all.
Right. That's what I said.
Her creator calls
there.
Yesterday, the judge said that as for compensation, it's a matter of civil suit, so there's nothing. So it shouldn't end there. They should go ahead and make sure that the lady is well compensated. Look, if this is the situation, then the rich in society can go ahead,
do whatever,
pour pepper on people's faces,
and go in for 9 months and come back.
9 months and come home and come and rest.
You know, in fact, what I got from the indication I got from the court was that they were running both the civil and the criminal issues side by side. So that process has already started, which is what gave rise to lawyer for Jihad Chaban asking for an out-of-court settlement to do it. So I'm sure that they had an agreement, but the judge, Magistrate Ganza, was not happy with it. So she threw it away, and then he committed the gentleman to prison. And the lawyer for Jihad Chaban says, well, the judge should have considered the arrangement,
the out-of-court settlement.
Yes.
And that's why I'm saying that for me, it should be settled by
exactly. Anyway, but Johnny, you mentioned something interesting that's captured in Newsday. It says, danger. SNIT DG deputies not contributors. Can they be trusted? And for me, that is worrying. Because why would you not contribute to a scheme you so believe in and you're working for?
The Susu collector is not part of the Susu scheme.
At all.
Okay.
She's collecting yours to...
Mr. Kofi Bosompemo Safuma, for Deputy Director General, Mrs. Laureate Oche, Deputy Director General, and then Dr. John Ofoetinkwam.
But so if they are,
all of them,
so if they are not contributors to SNIT,
right?
How do they manage our funds?
Johnny, I understand why perhaps they are not, because for instance, Mr. Safumafo has not been here for quite some time, so maybe that's why they are not. But really, it raises a lot of questions.
But right, if you are not, you will always have a number. As soon as you get a new employment, you give it off, and they toss it.
So have they started? Have they been put on the list?
It says, well, apparently it's optional. So of course, it seems it's not. Anyway, it says there's a whole story about it. It talks about the reduction in the age exemption. So members who were 55 years and above as of January 2010 were exempted from Act 766. And Act 766...
yes, that's
so it talks about Act to amend the National Pensions Act, which is to reduce the age from exemption from the first year
have they ever
scheme.
Contributed before?
That's what we don't know. I guess that's what the story doesn't really say.
Because you see, the point is, if they are part of us and they contribute, they will know how to manage what we give them, because they know that eventually they will also benefit from it. But if they are not contributors, they will decide that.
So a man leading a bank
doesn't say with a bank.
With a bank, is that possible?
Yes, or an investment package with a bank.
Yes,
and yet he goes out to convince people to cover it.
I guess because of the exemption clause, maybe they have the choice.
This is a Kukwana story.
No, but in as much as you, like you said, a man who owns a bank doesn't really put his money in that bank. Doesn't mean he doesn't trust the bank, or the bank doesn't work the way he wants it to.
And can he be trusted to work?
Can he be trusted to work effectively?
Exactly, because then you feel your money is not there. So
for you out there,
maybe it's a big question.
Let's get to read your thoughts and comments about this. Where the top hierarchy of the SNIT themselves are not contributors.
According to the Newsday
According to the
paper.
Newsday newspaper. How do you feel about it, being a contributor? Do you feel safe? What should be done? 050-823-5228. And you can also join us on Twitter and Facebook as well.
Sometimes what you do to get workers to put up their best is to sell part of the company to them. I mean, this is known in the business circle.
Right.
So we allow workers to
make them shareholders.
Owners of a company. The idea is to encourage them to put in their best. Now, these persons will make decisions for SNIT, how to invest our money, where to put it and where not to put it. And yet we're told by the Newsday paper that they are not contributors.
Anyway, so Daily Statement also says Bawumia outlines measures to make port operations efficient, and then government ready with 25 million CD stimulus package that's coming from the finance minister. And then finally, AFDB commends president for sound economic management. Sorry.
As for the package, it has to come on.
It has to come. Are you going to benefit
companies
from
that suffered and Doomso will need a lot of revamping. And so,
but definitely, it's the big companies that are going to benefit from this. What about the small ones who really suffered?
Because
you don't even make
I'm
much
thinking
on a
that
daily
if the
basis,
big ones
let
benefit
alone.
from it, it may
will
trickle down to
It
the small
may.
ones. It may. Because you see, if somebody runs, say, a cold store and he gets that facility and somebody goes to buy from them to go and retail, it may a little of it may rub off that small
Definitely,
business.
if it's working, if there's efficiency and they're interlinked, then definitely you should trickle down. But in our situation,
I hope
it may not.
these monies don't go to family and friends, party functionaries, but it goes to business people, no matter their political coloration, so that we can grow the economy holistically, all of us together.
But the port issue, because we know the port is one place where there's too much stifling of money, in the sense that the processes are too long. You have to go through a lot, and in that situation, people always find a way to make money off you. So I was happy when the Vice President announced that we're going to put in measures starting September. But of course, even as we try and make the port efficient, I find they really have to clamp down on the people who put themselves there to receive monies fraudulently, because oftentimes they've tried and it hasn't been successful. I'm looking at a place where the processes are cut down, streamlined. It's one way. We're either going digital, through sharing information on the computer. There's no interpersonal relationship. I want that part to be
automated
out.
processes you mentioned exist.
They do,
remember
but they're not
functional.
functional.
Anas expose that said A, B, C, D have evaded taxes and all of that. We're yet to collect those monies from those companies. Add to that, and I think that, the fundamentals are what we keep missing all of the time. We have the computers, we have the softwares, we have the system, we pay people to come and work on them. So if we still have the leakages, is it time perhaps we sack the people who are there, who are not making the work efficient, and brought in new people?
Probably.
See, it's not just about saying you streamline all of that and then what happens. Because if I import goods, and those who import cars will tell you, they could buy a car as cheap as $1,500 or maybe $2,000 or euros. But by the time they clear it out of this port, they would have paid like 6,000 euros. And so you're asking, the cost price plus just clearing price makes it very tough for anybody to want to own a car in this country.
It is.
So people do all manner of things just to want to
evade it.
I mean, come on.
Let's go back to the nurses issue. Some information I just chanced on. So they are not bonded. They are private nurses. They are not bonded. And then, according to what I have, that has just been sent to my phone, the minister actually said that he is working on the clearance for these nurses. So perhaps, which paper were we reviewing? Is it Heritage or I think yes, the Heritage, saying that even if you put a knife to my neck, I cannot employ you. And he said that the minister said he's waiting for the clearance from the finance ministry before getting these nurses onto government payroll.
Okay.
The person who sent me this is asking if all trained nurses should seek employment from government. How do we change it?
That's a good question.
That's been, yes, I mean, it's not a new one. We've been asking this question all the while. And should they even, it comes back to the issue of bonding. Should we even bond these nurses? Okay, allow them to find their feet.
Right, that's a good question, because you see, while we're also defending, advocating for the nurses and teachers especially, some of them, because they know that, as soon as I'm done with school, I will get a job and my name will be on the Accountant General's payroll and I'll be paid. Some of them don't even give off their best because they know that at the end of the month, I will be paid anyway. Some of the teachers miss classes, they don't go to school. Some of the nurses who have been put in villages at the cheap compounds don't turn up. 2-3 days they are off because, for example, their supervisor may be in Adabala or Sogakope and they are going straight into some village in Akachi. Who supervises them? So while we are asking for them to be treated fairly, they should also know that they should treat us fairly. Because if a snake bites somebody in that village and you are not there as the nurse who is supposed to be the village doctor, so to speak, and you are not there to take care of the people and they die, who killed them? You.
The issue is also that, how do we change? Because now it is known that every nurse, every teacher who is going through training is waiting for government to employ him or her. How do we change that? It has to come from government.
Exactly.
Because if the various governments, when the various political parties, when you're campaigning, if they promise these persons jobs when we come to power, and you come to power,
you
it will definitely come to you. And so how do we change it? We have to change it and stop them from coming to us to look for jobs. Perhaps they should start from the bonding issue and see how we can deal with it.
Speaking of that, the polytechnics or the technical universities, they still don't have governing councils, so they can't graduate. And some have completed their programs and can't graduate. And it's been a lingering issue on and on and on and on. I know that the announcement was made for the universities, mainline universities, but how about the technical universities? They also need to graduate.
They do.
People have had job opportunities, but they can't apply for them because they don't have the certificate to prove that. I mean, you can't use a transcript to go and look for a job somewhere. So please, good morning to you, Mr. President. Good morning to you, Education Minister. Please look the direction of the technical universities as well. And University of Education says they are yet to reopen school, and yet their school fees is not approved. Please take a look at that as well for them. We beg you. So this is Tilapia's animation of what looks like the free SHS. It says, well, warm up. You are coming on in second half. That's the coach who looks like the finance minister, and that's the trainer behind Vice President Baumia. And it says, well, free SHS. One district, one factory. I don't know what this ones are. Maybe one village, one dam.
Probably.
It looks like, but that's a pass substitution warm up. So you are coming out in September, second half. Well, this Tilapia's animation. But why are they wearing Accra Great Olympics?
No, they are wearing MPP colors.
No, this is Accra Great Olympics.
Red, blue, and white.
It's red, blue, white. Or it's France national flag.
No.
Anyway. So, Parliament gives 15% pay rise to staff. That's good news for staff of Parliament. Congratulations. Enjoy. While it lasts. Government to restore allowance for agriculture trainees. Okay, so that's some good news for you as well. Deputy Director General of GBC, Abna Buzia, 3 others get ambassadorial job. That's lawyer Francisca Asiedu-Dartey there. She got a job to Kenya, Ghana's ambassador to Kenya, and Abna Buzia as well. And 3 others, they get ambassadorial jobs. Congratulations to them. We hope they serve as well out there, represent us well. 2016 Hajj backlog to be cleared this year, Hajj board. This Hajj issue, right, I don't know, but...
Well, I heard Sheikh Isikwe yesterday saying that all those who could not go will be made to go.
Yes.
But the question I keep asking is, why should somebody's spiritual enterprise or spiritual aspiration be the burden of the nation? If we are not a Christian state, if we are not a Muslim unitary state.
It brings into mind those the Christians who went to Israel. Have they returned? Or they're yet to go?
But
the one that the Chieftaincy Ministry said it was facilitating.
We don't know if they even went.
Yeah, but they said they don't want it. They said they don't want the help.
No, but there were some people who actually were on board to go. I think they're back.
Anyway,
we have no idea what happened to that story.
Take a break now. We'll be right back after this with news.
Well, good morning to you. I'm Anthony Jackson. A look at some more news this morning. Now, the Africa Development Bank is to invest $950 million into 23 infrastructural projects in Ghana. Part of the fund would be used to create cocoa marketing points, reforestation, and recapitalization of cocoa facilities.
President of the African Development Bank made this known during an interaction with the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta at the Flagstaff House in Accra. The $1.2 million investment from the bank is part of the overall $980 million the bank has earmarked to support projects on the African continent. In the case of Ghana, the amount will also be used to improve cocoa yields, support farmers, and recapitalize cocoa industries.
The cocoa plantations are actually aging quite rapidly, and they are quite subject to cocoa swollen shoot disease. And so the only way in which you can deal with that is to recapitalize that plantation. So part of this fund will go into recapitalizing and replanting a lot of the old cocoa trees so that things can actually work.
Again, the African Development Bank from the $980 million will invest $500 million to support the President Nana Akufo-Addo's projects. $80 million will also be used to improve on Ghana's urban transport and water sanitation. The bank once again earmarked $120 million to support Ghana's airport development, while additional $40 million to support growth of small-scale enterprises.
Ghana will be able to graduate from relying on concessional financing from the bank to a commercial window of the bank. And that will allow Ghana to access, roughly $500 million a year. It can allow it to actually push the kind of vision that the president has.
On energy, the African Development Bank indicated that it has since invested $80 million to support the Takoradi thermal plant.
What I see in terms of macroeconomic management, the public financial management, debt management, puts Ghana on the right track for that. And I have great confidence that this government will succeed. And I think the leadership of President Akufo-Addo in Africa is incredible, and I told him that Africa needs his leadership, needs a kind of vision and tenacity and commitment to fast-paced development that he exemplifies.
Minister of Finance Ken Ofori-Atta lauded the bank for supporting the president's initiatives.
Part of that is also wrapping around the feeling of Ghana becoming a pillar of stability in that region. And therefore, with the economic gains that we are having, combined with such a strong representation of AFDB in Ghana.
Now, a group of unemployed nurses picketing at the Ministry of Health to demand immediate posting have ended their 3-day siege of the other ministry. Let's take a look at the story.
The coalition, made up of over 3,000 trained nurses from various private nursing training schools, lamented that government had consistently discriminated against them by prioritizing the recruitment of their colleagues trained in public nursing training schools. Addressing a news conference at the Ministry of Health, Sector Minister Kweku Agyemang-Manu said the picketing was unnecessary as there are ongoing plans to resolve the issue.
We are trying to assist, though government has no legal obligation, not a commitment. We have constraints, and we don't control, how do I call it, the budget. The finance minister is also very conscious not to overrun compensation in this implementing the budget, because we all seriously are working to stabilize the macro environment to bring sanity into management of our finances. And therefore, I sit here as a minister. I cannot go ahead to recruit when I know very well that there is no cover to pay for them.
The Minister for Information, Mustafa Hamid, who later addressed the aggrieved nurses, assured them that the Ministry of Health is working with the Finance Ministry to secure financial clearance for their postings.
The Minister for Health, even though he doesn't have an obligation to engage you, is fighting hard for you with the Ministry of Finance to get financial clearance for your engagement. We are just 6 months in government. We have employed 14,566 nurses. That should tell you the commitment that we have towards your profession. I am begging you to take the minister's word for it.
Spokesperson for the group is Frederick Barr.
We have agreed that we are going. As I'm speaking to you now, some of us are coming from northern region, eastern region, and also some of us are also in Accra here. So with immediate effect, we agree to whatever you are saying as children in good faith. And we believe you. I know you do something.
Various groups of trainee and trained nurses have in recent times protested against the government over similar issues of delayed postings. Some have had to picket at the Ministry of Health for nights before securing their posting.
The Abeka District Court has sentenced the manager of the Abelempe branch of Morocco restaurant Jihad Chaban to 9 months imprisonment for assaulting an employee. Meanwhile, counsel for Jihad Chaban says his client would appeal.
Jihad Chaban, who manages the Abelempe branch of the food chain, was accused of dipping the face of Evelyn Boachi into blended pepper. The incident, which happened on February 26, was first heard in court on March 8, with Jihad Chaban charged with offensive conduct, assault and causing harm, but he pleaded not guilty to the 3 charges. On July 26, lawyers for Jihad Chaban presented terms of an out-of-court settlement in an attempt to get the court to discharge the accused person, but the judge insisted it only settled the civil aspect of the case. Delivering the judgment, the judge, Victoria Ganser, said the prosecution had proven beyond every reasonable doubt that the accused committed the offense. She further noted that for the first count of offensive conduct, the law states that it has to be in a public place, but this happened in the kitchen of the restaurant, according to the evidence before the court, adding prosecution did not do much in proving it was an offensive conduct.
But with count 2 and count 3, which borders on assault and also causing harm, the court actually convicted him based on those 2 counts. And the first count, which is causing harm, he was actually sentenced for 6 months, and then that of assault, he was sentenced for 9 months. And these 2 sentences are going to run concurrently. So in effect, he's going to be in prison for 9 months.
But counsel for Jihad Chaban, Julio de Medero, said he has been instructed to file for an appeal against the 9-month sentence.
We would abide by it, but we entirely disagree with the findings of the court. We thought that we put up a very good defense. She thought otherwise. We have taken instructions from our client to appeal immediately. We are going back to the chambers to start working on the appeal process.
And meanwhile, family of the Morocco assault victim says Evelyn Boachi has suffered a protracted eye condition as a result of the incident. He spoke to TV3's Salom Ameyal.
You think justice has been served?
Yes, from the point of view of the family, we say that justice has been served, and it has been served well.
How has it been for Evelyn Boachi? Because for some time now, we've not been seeing her coming to court. How is she like? How is she coping?
Okay, so because of the case, now she has to run to the hospital almost every week. She has to run from the public, and even her safety also, her security also is involved. So we have to strategically place her in a place that will be for her comfort, and also that will be for her security also. So for the first time in her life, she dresses with sunglasses. For the first time in her life, she goes through the eye clinic, go through the psychiatric hospital, of which was not part of her life. So it has affected her mostly negative. And nowadays, look at the stigmatization around. Wherever she passes, she is easily spotted for the wrong reasons because of the case. Basically, that's it.
Yes, but we are told that you've taken care of the civil aspect of the case by accepting some terms of settlement from Mawako.
Okay, I am not an expert, but it's stipulated in the law that in such criminal cases, the complainant also has the right to pursue a civil side of the case, of which will yield for a compensation, of which by the advice of a technical team and also from the employment ministry and also with the office of the minister, we've been able to agree on a compensation which is good for her, that also constitutes the civil side of the case.
So can you tell us how much money you're getting? What's in the compensation?
Okay, I am not allowed or have been advised for now to keep it up from the public.
Now, the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, has directed the Customs Division of the GRA to set up separate terminals at the ports to facilitate electronic payment of goods being transported to neighboring countries. The directive is part of government's resolve to speed up automation at the port and stop smuggling.
Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia was outlining initiatives to be rolled out by government from September 1. As part of automation to begin on September 1, traders will be offered an electronic license for them to operate. Again, importers who are to clear their goods at the port will also be given a pre-arrival license before goods are cleared. He again directed customs to introduce 3D scanners to check the export and import of goods. The Vice President is confident the electronic system will enhance operations at the port.
Begin the implementation of a risk clearance system at the pre-arrival stage, and this will make it possible for compliant importers to sit in their comfort of their homes or offices and get customs clearance. Every activity under this system will be fed into the risk engine to enable us keep records of importers.
He warned agencies which failed to comply with the directives would be sanctioned.
The GRA is in discussions already with Cote d'Ivoire and the other countries. So if you come in and you tell us, oh, I want to take my goods to Burkina Faso, we'll point you to the Burkina desk to go and pay your duty before you leave the port. So if you decide to end in Kumasi, that will be your problem.
Under the automation program, weigh bills and bills of lading of goods will be processed manually.
Our goal within the next 6 months is to have a robust risk engine which will grant customs clearance in a maximum of 4 hours. Dubai Customs, for example, is able to grant customs clearance in 1.5 seconds. And so Ghana can definitely aim for 4 hours, for within 4 hours. But I believe we can do much, much better.
Well, that's it for the news this morning. Handing over to Amma and Bright.
Yeah, Charlie.
And Johnny.
We're throwing back. AJ, back in the day in secondary school, you know, we used to, like, you know, did you ever do that?
No.
Did you ever do
that?
that?
I was about to say, you know. I don't
we used to,
know.
like, you know.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like, you know.
And it used to make you feel cool.
Yeah, I mean, the boys do it. They still do it, man. You feel cool, man. Like, you know.
Maybe I think something biting, maybe some ticks around your body.
But the guys used to do it in some auto freestyle.
I was part of the gigs, you know, the brilliant ones. You know, so
I know.
we were going
like
for the
nerds.
Science and maths quiz. Yeah.
The nerds. You remember Fila? Fila footwear.
Yeah.
LA Gear.
Yeah.
Reebok.
Nike.
And Nike. Yeah. Which one again? Then it was Pure.
Am I wearing Nike? You want Nike shoes?
I see.
Was it a synthetic one? Was it a synthetic one?
No.
You wear synthetic? Synthetic.
There's a synthetic Nike.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't come across.
Where we used to count the number of logos on the shoe to prove whether it's original or synthetic.
Please used to remember how the Nike sign had various forms.
Have a good day.
Yeah, have a good day. Anyway.
Let's rant. I'm sure we can.
Today we're not ranting, unfortunately, but yeah, we'll do some messages.
Let's do some messages there, and lots and lots and lots of them. I'm trying to wrap my mind around them. Right, see the number of people who brought us messages. Okay, so let's start from here. It says, good morning to you, Bright, and your panelists. No amount of picketing can employ you without due process. The same private nurses, when you employ, leaves patients to their fate and Facebooking. That's what they said.
Yeah.
Okay, so another says, well, the government of Nanado. Okay, so I'm sure we can take a break now. A bit of technical challenge. We'll be back after this.
Welcome back. Daily Graphic begins this morning and says that AG goes wild, chases looters of public funds. Properties of the dead won't be spared. His photograph is here. The president swears in 5 envoys. Ghana aims at customs clearance in 4 hours. That's the vice president. And Mawako's advisor jailed 9 months. The Newday says, danger. State DG deputies not contributors. Can they be trusted? And uproar over towing levy. National Road Safety Commission Parliament tackle critics. Tells skeptics to hasten slowly. The statesman says government ready with 25 million cedi stimulus package. That's according to the finance minister. Daily Guide Ibrahim Mahama hot over road bauxite contract. The Auditor General story and the Mawako stories are all captured by the Daily Graphic. The Ghanaian Times says also captures the Auditor General story and says mixed reactions greet towing levy. The story captured on page 32. Port automation begins on 1st September 1. Heritage, the Auditor General story is here. The Mawako story is also captured. The Business Finder, major boost for businesses as Fitch predicts 18% prime rate. An IMF deal, government will meet targets. That's the finance minister talking there. My guest to do the talking this morning to my extreme left is a member of the NDC, member of parliament for the Damongo constituency, Honorable Adams Mutawakilu. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hope you're doing great.
I'm doing good.
Thanks for your Thursday morning. And then next to me is member of parliament for the Futu constituency, a member of the NPP, Honorable Alexander Fenyamaki. Good morning too.
Morning, Bright.
And thanks for your time.
Thank you for having me here too.
Let's start with this issue. I guess it will not go away yet because the Heritage is reporting of the nurses picketing. TV3 also carried a story. The issue is that the minister says, the health minister says that government is working at getting these nurses clearance and that it will take some time to fix them. Government is spoken about the number of nurses it has actually employed so far and the commitment to get it. But Heritage put the story and says that the health minister, Kwekwa Jumamenu, has told privately trained nurses who have been picketing at the health ministry for over 2 days now that they cannot be employed even if they put a knife to his throat. The Coalition for Unemployed Private Nurses Association stormed the ministry on Monday, July 31 to demand postings. According to the unemployed nurses, numbering over 300, they have been discriminated against since 2010. That's the story so far. Honorable Fenyamaki, let's begin from here. The issue of the nurses will keep coming. The teachers are not left out. But some have suggested that government let go of these nurses. Let them find their own level when they complete school. One of the reasons why perhaps the nurses will want to go to government for employment is that after working for 3 years with government, they qualify for study leave and still get paid. And so certainly they won't go to the private sector to look for jobs if this kind of privilege is there. How do we deal with this issue of nurses running to government for jobs at the end of their training?
Well, thank you once again. I believe that when it comes to this issue of nurses who have been trained in our private institutions, the point must be well understood that in their case, they are not bonded. In their case, they are not on any scholarship. Government doesn't fund part of their education. Government's concentration, and that has been the practice, has been to deal with those that it trains in the public institutions and fill them in. So I think that the problem of those who were at home and were awaiting posting, if we are talking about that, then I can say for a fact that most of them have been posted. It is left with the 2016 graduates who are waiting posting. And even so, you know, we have a nursing college in Winneba. Even so, yesterday I was told that they were completing their forms. But as far as I'm concerned, all those who completed 2016 have been posted and they are at post. They completed that exercise around March of this year. So in terms of a backlog, there is none. And that's a fact. Anybody can verify. Now, the impression is being created as though the private, the nurses trained in those private institutions are part of those that government has an obligation to post to various health facilities. I don't think that's the case. As they complain, they said they have been discriminated against since 2010. We are in 2017. That is 7 years down the line. In any event, in the past, we had just very limited, very few private nursing training institutions that were training nurses. So the number was so insignificant, and I think most of the private medical facilities were taking them on board. So I think that there should be a system where the private hospitals and clinics, they themselves would have a platform to also access these, so that if government is concentrating on those that it has trained to public institutions, public health facilities, then these individuals who have also been trained by private health facilities, private institutions, must have equal opportunity, because the right to work is constitutional right.
So even though when government to look for jobs.
Yes, but there should be that priority. Government is prioritizing those that it has trained because it knows its capacity, and it says that in your case I've bonded you. I am saying that we have a number of private health facilities. So it's a matter of the schools coming together, making sure that they work together with some of these private health facilities to create access for their graduates to be recruited. At the same time, you see, if you know that some of these institutions do not also have accreditation, some of them, at least I know some people who were studying in some of these institutions upon graduation, and if they went to look for jobs in some of the clinics and the private health facilities, and were told that this certificate is not valid, that has no accreditation. And some of them, after graduating, had to now enroll again in public health institutions for training. So we should not just move out and criticize government that government is refusing to employ them. No, that has not been the practice. That when you go and get your training in a private institution, whether accredited or unaccredited, the obligation is on government. No, that has not been the practice. If it were the practice, I'm sure that they would have been taken into the mainstream public sector. But that has not been the practice. I think this fact must be well put out.
Government is not obligated to employ them. That's what you're saying.
I mean, that is the reality. If you go and have a private training, you go to a private institution for training. It is not the obligation of government, because government has its own public health facilities training facilities across the country. And that is government's primary objective. If you want to be bonded, if you want to get access to the public sector, apply to those public health training institutions, and you would get the opportunity. Because as for that one, that is government's obligation. But if you go to a private institution to train, you don't come back and say that there is discrimination. Because it's a matter of policy. But you are entitled to your constitutional right to work, though. But where somebody has funded education of somebody, it's like in-house training. If your company has trained you in a particular field, somebody also comes with the same qualification and says that because the company has sponsored and is employing you or is engaging you, he is being discriminated against. Obviously, that would be against the policy of the company. That person is coming, has his own training, the company has invested in you, and things that, look, I have an obligation to you, I have a contract with you to engage you, you are bonded you, that you are my priority, and that is a practice.
Then, from what you're saying, then the minister could be wrong by assuring these nurses that he's working on clearance for them.
Yes, because obviously, if government deals with its own, and you still have space, okay, then you can be taken on board. But I am saying that going forward, they themselves, those institutions that are running such programs, should also, with the private health facilities, they have the association, right? Okay, they should work together to create a space for their graduates, because government will not prioritize you. That is something that they must also understand. Government's first obligation is to those that it has trained and those that it has bonded. It is when there is some space thereafter that you can have access. But you would have a primary right of access to the private medical service providers. For instance, Cocoa Board has a medical facility, Slate has a medical facility, that's a private one. If you go to Ghana Airport, they have a medical facility. You have churches, there
are others
with their own missionary hospitals across the country. You have private clinics across the country. As for them, they would look at you on merit, and if really 300 is not much. If there is a system where they can also access vacancies at some of these private medical facilities, I am sure they wouldn't have any problem. But let's deal with the accreditation issue also, because I'm also told, and I'm reliably informed that some of them do not have accreditation.
Okay, I'm grateful. Honorable Mutawakili, so he said that, well, if the minister promised getting clearance for these 300 we're talking about, then it is because government has seen to its own, and there is some space, and that government is not obligated to get these nurses work.
Thank you very much, and good morning to our cherished viewers, more especially the good people of Damango constituency. Before I tackle it, over the last 10 years, it has become evident that the number of nurses that come out of the various colleges has increased tremendously, and they need places to work, and that comes along with infrastructure. And that is why former President Mahama considered, once the infrastructure is there, that is the basis to recruit more people. And that is why you have this Rich Hospital coming now, modern hospital, Legon Medical Hospital, the Tamale Teaching Hospital being expanded, Regional Hospital coming up, Bolgatanga Regional Hospital coming up, and several
Did you say Legon Medical Hospital?
The medical hospital.
It's a medical center.
The medical hospital.
The Investor Ghana Medical Center.
Yeah. You realize that the expansion of this infrastructure paved way for absorption of nurses and other medical personnel. And that is very critical. And as a government, it's not about, oh, these people are our people, these people are not our people. Because their action or inaction is a security threat Now they have invaded the Ministry of Health. The Ministry of Sales said they want the police to clear them. What is it creating? So when you're looking at certain, you don't look at it from, they are not our people, and therefore, what are the advantages we can take as a result of this cloth of nurses? Because during the 2016 campaign, you didn't go to only public health, public institution, nursing institution to promise them jobs. I believe that you went to the private nursing training colleges to promise them jobs. During the campaign, you didn't say only public training colleges nurses will get jobs. I believe that if you want to be creative, we should be looking beyond absorbing these nurses within Ghana. Cuba is specialized in exporting doctors, and we benefit. And if we think that we will not be able to absorb all our nurses, why don't we look for alternatives within the West African region? Maybe there are some countries that will need the nurses, and then you can export them to those countries. This will bring in foreign exchange and help mother Ghana. So I think that narrowing it to the fact that you didn't go to the public institution and therefore you went to private, and that is not the way out. We should never think that this one is not my matter. It can create insecurity, and your work could be. But the minister said that even if they put a neck on his throat, I think it's beyond.
That's the Heritage newspaper reporting that.
Yeah. You are being appointed by the president as a minister, and he appointed for all Ghanaians, not particular type of Ghanaians. And I think that his approach in that form is not the best.
Shouldn't we be worried about the burden on government wage bill if we are to absorb all these nurses into the public system?
The question is, do we need them? So if you say my wage bill cannot absorb the nurses, meanwhile, let's say in my community, Mongnore, do not have a health center. So you want to sacrifice the people for the fact that you cannot pay. And that is why we have to look beyond. And I think that getting the people healthy is number one. Because when they are healthy, productivity increases. And therefore, the money you said is not enough will be enough. The more we don't take care of them, we are not able to provide the health services they need, then our medical bills increases. National health insurance. So there is always, when you cut one side, it will go and balance the other side. National health insurance debt will go up because there will be more people attending to health centers and falling sick, and the bill for our medical bills will go high. So by saying that I cannot pay a nurse to go and make sure that the people of Ghana are healthy and increase productivity, will result to a decline in productivity and ultimately your inability to even sustain those who are already engaged.
Right. The quote that we're referring to, I think
that's the,
it is important.
Yes,
it is important that we make the quote complete. And Heritage was fair by giving a complete quote. Right. So let's refer to it in that context. It says, so as it stands now, I cannot change it because I have begun processes to have privately trained nurses employed. But the financial clearance is not here.
Right.
Meaning that in the past, that was not the practice of getting privately trained nurses to be part of the mainstream. Let's get that. As I stand here now, even if you put a knife to my throat, I cannot employ you because I don't have the financial clearance. We shouldn't create the impression that the Minister of State or the Health Minister has given a cheek or has been insensitive. It's language use. He made a complete statement that, look, I have taken the step. This was not a practice in the past. However, we are exploring practical ways of absorbing you. So as it is, I need a financial clearance. Note that when sometimes some of these people are employed and they go and there's no such clearance, they don't get paid. Right. And then also with the give me system, the streamlining of our payroll, You cannot just, even when you are a regular staff in the public service and you do not update your records, your name gets deleted automatically. So if the man says, look, I need a clearance, and that is the operating way. I need clearance so that I can engage you. I have started it, I've initiated, and you will get the opportunity. But if, it's language use. So I don't want the impression to be created that
the use of "if you put a knife to my neck,"
yes, that is where the problem is. It could have been said better. That is
the consensus I want us to have here is that the minister did not give a check. The minister was not snobbish. I know our colleague MP. He knows him. He's a fine gentleman. He couldn't have. I said, "Okay," he said, "Look, the amaye may buamu, but what they say can crab back to me. Mean to me, it's different from he giving a check, and I need you to appreciate it."
No,
the complete statement
get
is
me very well.
Very well.
I never insulted him. I said there's that putting the knife on my throat. It's
you put a line to my history.
Yes, I agree. Very well. But I'm saying that I've said it better, whether in that form or that form. That word doesn't.
That phrase
it doesn't.
Very
it doesn't.
Well. But then at least I want to suggest that having made a complete statement, we shouldn't create the impression that he gave a check.
No, but I'm just making the fact that political speech, those words, are those that stick to the public.
That is if you continue to hammer it.
No,
he wasn't making a political speech.
No,
he wasn't making a political speech.
No.
You were a politician.
No,
he is our brother in parliament.
I know.
That is
why I said that.
The man made a call. He said that because he said that because I don't have the financial clearance.
I understand.
Should he have stopped that?
And he has completed it.
I don't have it. So
it is your duty to help complete matters. He says because I don't have financial clearance.
But I'm saying that
he didn't stop.
that phrase there could have been put in a better way.
You must interpret the whole, not part thereof.
But what I'm saying is that phrase there could have been put better.
It's okay.
All right. Let's leave that one there. Let's deal with the towing issue. We'll very soon come back to the Auditor General. We've told the Ghanaian Times says mixed reactions greet towing levy. A section of Ghanaians have described as unnecessary the mandatory national towing levy set for implementation after receiving approval from Parliament Select Committee on Roads and Transport. Now, all vehicle owners would be expected to pay the levy to fund the towing of broken down vehicles from the roads, but many Ghanaians are opposed to the levy. That's according to the Ghanaian Times. Imani, for instance, has questioned why the legislature hurriedly perused the document rather than consulting all other stakeholders before taking a decision. That's Imani. It says, I think Parliament is making a very strenuous effort to push things through. It was not Parliament's business to do what they did. That's Imani talking there. Now, Occupy Ghana, or Asa Nkrumah, is, he spoke as a private legal practitioner. He is indicating that the mandatory towing law was facing resistance and public acceptance due to the lack of broad stakeholder engagement. He wanted changes to the controversial law to allow for easy implementation by the operator. There are other people who have spoken against it. But, Honorable Mbetawake, let me start with you. Did Parliament do good work on this?
Thank you very much. Parliament, in generality, they have contributed, each and every person has contributed as to why it should be passed. They look at it from several angles, stakeholders. But me, personally, I have issues with even the levy for not using it. If my car is a new one,
it don't break down.
It doesn't break down. Why should I be paying for another person's? Two, the methodology is not the best. I believe that bringing in one person to do the whole of the country is a problem, and I think that it doesn't bring efficiency. We always want to ensure that there's no monopoly. Monopoly brings about inefficiencies, and I believe that just looking for one person to execute the whole of the country will be problematic and will kill competition completely. I believe that there are few companies in this country who engage in such activity, and they must be taken into consideration, because if they eliminate them all, then the monopoly he determines, and it will be difficult bringing in somebody to take over. I think that there must be competition within the country in terms of towing.
Does it suggest that your voice was drowned out by Parliament in approving?
Parliament has not come out, has not taken a decision on this matter. The report.
Well, we're told that Parliament, the committee has okayed it and said that.
No. Okay. You finish.
Yeah, you know that when it's late, after 21 days,
it becomes law.
Yeah.
So can we say that Parliament has not approved it?
Normally, it is not discussed. Allies are not discussed much.
On the great one, let me come in on that. You are raising a procedural issue. He knows that's my area, so don't worry him so much.
No, I hope you are not trying to say that.
Oh, he's my colleague. I know my procedural thing. I'm not an energy man.
You are an energy
man. The procedural
Right. The ally did not have embedded in it the name of the company to implement.
But that is what is going on. He said the public.
So I need to, that's what I'm trying to.
So we have to be very clear.
Hold on.
The public.
Yes. So don't say that Parliament approved the monopoly. Parliament never did that. The LI
he never said that.
No. I'm saying that the impression shouldn't be created.
No.
The LI had the concept. The LI had the concept. And in principle, I am not against the towing policy. I am not against it. What I am against, and which I am in agreement with my brother, is the monopolization. Giving room for one person to monopolize and in turn say that I am giving third parties opportunity to come under me. I think that the whole thing was rushed, and it must be suspended until proper broader consultation.
Rushed by who?
Who signed it? It was signed by the government in October 2016. And I'm saying that the rush with which the contract was executed and given to one person, one company, nationwide, no, I agree with him that it would lead to inefficiencies. The fact that the main service provider has also signed contract with other third parties in itself should tell you that that main service provider does not have the capacity. Now, Parliament can only be seized with jurisdiction when there is a referral from Mr. Speaker. The Roads and Transport Committee that did some work did not take its mandate from Parliament, so it can never be the work of Parliament. That is a matter of fact and law. Parliament can only
explain that.
Very well.
The chairman of that committee said that they have looked at the contract. He said there's nothing wrong with it. Are you suggesting that you said it was rushed? Are you suggesting the committee could not have made amendments to the contract?
Listen, we are mixing points. You are telling me yesterday and today, the media is creating the impression that Parliament has okayed the levying. I'm saying that it is not true. Factually, it's not accurate, because Parliament as plenary and Parliament as committee has its head, Mr. Speaker. Now, Parliament can only be seized with jurisdiction to act on a matter when same is referred to it by the Speaker. I am aware that Committee for Roads and Transport has done some work. But according to the committee, in the heat of the brouhaha, the minister met with them. And out of the engagement, minister asked them to also exercise their oversight, to look around and listen to some stakeholders. According to the Roads and Transport Committee, upon listening to some stakeholders, they as a committee have come to a conclusion. And per the conclusion, they have forwarded that report to the minister, not to Parliament or Mr. Speaker. I'm telling you that there is no such thing. I have spoken to the minister myself.
This is a revelation.
Yes, it's a revelation. Yesterday I spoke to the minister.
Parliament doesn't know of this.
For the records, Parliament does not know of this. this report of the committee has not been laid. Mr. Speaker did not make a referral. I spoke to the minister myself yesterday, and I'm quoting him that he said, look, he has received the committee's report. He is waiting for other stakeholders. He says that he engaged many stakeholders to report. And as it is, government has not even taken a decision. I am quoting the minister. Okay. Because yesterday I read it, and I knew
let me come into this.
Yes. Government has not taken a decision. The minister has not even forwarded anything to government.
Okay, so
let me
two issues here.
Yes.
Government has not taken a decision.
Good. Parliament has also not taken a decision on the block.
Okay,
let me come to this. We have to be careful. The rule of parliament. I'm a parliamentarian, he is. We have several roles: legislative, oversight, responsibility, and all they are the work of parliament. If we invite an agency to appear before our committee, it is not being the speaker who has referred it, but embedded in our responsibilities is oversight responsibility. If we found something to be not to be right, the committee could proceed further by putting a question to the minister to appear on the floor of parliament, answer the questions. At the end of the day, the speaker takes a decision to refer it to be laid before the plenary or not. So there are several rules. But parliament works in other ways, like allies. We passed the Oil Exploration and Production Act 919. However, the allies, to implement it, we are not part of it. It goes to subsidiary legislation. So there is that.
But that's all. Hold on.
I'm indicating something. We passed the act by parliament. That is the EMP Act 919. That is the framework. This LI makes it implementable. And we thought that when it is laid and referred to the subsidiary, it should be joint. Because if we pass the main act, you might have information that will help you input into the LI. But most often, it's not joint. And that is where sometimes we have challenges to be verified.
So he's suggesting that a parliament has not approved this. Is that the case?
I'm saying that the committee in its oversight responsibility
has done that.
Is the work of parliament. If we are doing our oversight responsibility, that is the responsibility of parliament.
Honorable Finyamakin, so if you're saying that government has not approved this, the parliament has not approved this, you're saying that on September 1, when the levy is supposed to come into force, it can be changed? Is that what you're saying?
The transport minister has gone public in saying that the implementation of this policy remains suspended.
I see.
He said so a month or two ago. Pursuant to that suspension, he indicated firmly that the government, and for that matter his ministry, intend to have a broader stakeholder consultation. Suffice it to say that a contract has been executed as far back as October 2016. Now, with all the concerns being raised, including that of Imani, the minister says that let us fashion out a smoother way of implementing this policy. The generality of Ghanaians are not against the policy of making sure that our roads are free. But some people are talking about the cost, that it is too much. Others are also saying, why collect levies and pay 85% to the service provider? I am saying, and my colleague also hold a view, that the monopoly is also a big problem. Yesterday and this morning, the media is creating the impression as though Parliament as an institution has okayed the levy and has recommended
the committee's work doesn't make it the work of Parliament.
No, I have explained to you.
So when the chairman of the committee says that from September 1 the levy is in force, what does it mean?
Very well. I don't know how the chairman put his phrases together to make a complete sentence. But as far as I am aware, and I'm speaking on good authority, the minister engaged the committee, and the committee also did further engagement with some stakeholders. The minister has just received a report. According to the minister, he is supposed to even refer the report and its recommendation to his own technical team at the ministry. Then, upon perusal, the government will be advised. He is a cabinet minister, by the way. So it will be put before cabinet for cabinet to take a decision. I am telling you this morning that the work done by the committee is not a work of parliament because it has not been tabled. The work of parliament become complete when, after committee, same is laid and the plenary. Any work done by parliament or any committee thereof without the express involvement of the plenary can never be the work of parliament.
This has not been laid.
I am saying that it has not been laid. To make it to make it complete, Mr. Speaker did not refer.
You have to. No, it doesn't
the
necessarily.
matter. It has to be.
No. Committee work is part of Parliament's work.
No.
That is why the Speaker insisted that if you meet any agency, he requires you to submit a report to him. If he reads the report
being submitted,
no,
to
that
Mr.
is what
Speaker.
I'm just telling you. The
is
process.
the report with Mr. Speaker?
No, please.
These are matters of law. Let's get it right and not talk propaganda.
If
it's
a
about our
committee,
institution.
If a committee meets,
it has not been laid.
It's part of its oversight responsibility.
But it has not been laid.
So on the 1st of September, we won't be.
Hold on.
You want to say that
it is
not laid before the plenary, it's not part the work of.
That is my contention.
I don't believe
that until a committee report is laid.
No,
it can only become the work of parliament after it be laid. By the way, get it that committee is a subset of the whole. Parliament works at the committee level and at the plenary. When you finish the committee work, you table it. Parliament must resolve to adopt your report.
All right.
Let
me put it. Yes. It's not everything that is referred by the Speaker to the committee is the work of Parliament.
No, without a referral.
Let me tell you.
As a committee, we are using a term of as a work of Parliament.
We do our
work of Parliament as a term
understand
of
this. As a committee,
work
we
of
do
Parliament as a term
we do
of
our work, oversight responsibility work.
That's a different
and
matter.
that doesn't necessarily mean that the Speaker must refer it to us.
Well,
we write to the Speaker the program we want to execute. When we meet any agency, we write a report and give it to the Speaker.
And it has to come to the plenary.
It doesn't necessarily need
it has to.
It does.
Then it becomes the work of Parliament.
No.
Okay. All right. So we'll wait on that.
Look, the legislative manual of legislative procedure. It is here. Manual legislative procedure. It is here.
Because that's the legislative aspect. We have the oversight aspect.
I'm just taking this last one from you. So, for you, on the 1st of September, there's nothing like a towing levy.
Please.
For those who go to change their roadway.
No, the government, through the Minister of Transport, has announced that the implementation remains suspended for broader stakeholder consultation. As we speak, government of Ghana has not come out to indicate its readiness to implement come 1st September. The minister, at least when I read the report in the papers yesterday, I made sure I contacted him. He was gracious enough to return my call. He told me in plain language that, Alex, I have just received a report. I am awaiting the report of other stakeholders I engaged. I have my technical committee to look at the recommendations. Until all these are done, I cannot pronounce on it. By the way, when all these things are done, I will put it to cabinet.
I'm grateful.
That is the position.
I'm hoping, I'm asking you this, I'm not sure if you have the answer. Has the minister seen in the media that the media said that the levy is taking off on the 1st of September? I don't know if you can.
But you yourself, you say you don't know whether I can answer this.
Yeah, but I'm asking, perhaps you know. Yeah. Because I don't want you to.
Because you said,
since you telephoned
you read,
because it's been in the media that 1st September is the takeoff day. So if it is not, then I expected the minister to have come out to say that indeed what the media
let your colleagues
to decline
him.
Okay.
To decline.
Right. You don't know if he has seen it.
Right.
Well, Transport Minister.
I have not answered you. Why are you saying
why you don't want to answer?
No, but you don't need to put me on the spot on a matter.
No,
I have quoted what matters of fact.
Okay.
If you want to do further inquiry, why don't you call? Why are you coming to say that I say I don't know? Am I supposed to know?
No, you're not supposed to.
Why are you saying that I called him on a particular matter?
Okay.
And then I got my answers and I've quoted him.
We'll send our reporters to the minister.
Exactly. That is your work, not my work.
The media has.
Why do you want to find answers for me?
That 1st September is the takeoff.
So that means it's suspended.
Yeah, it is still suspended.
No, it was announced that same has been suspended. You know it.
I'm just saying you.
No, don't quote me. No,
you have. Let's go to the daily graphic this morning.
We'll follow the minister.
The legislative procedure is here. The constitution is here.
I'm saying that
I have my 2 Bibles. It's here.
Okay. I said you said it.
They are here.
You just said it.
They are here.
Let's jump to the daily graphic. AG goes wild. We're told that the audit service says the properties of even the dead people who received or took funds from the public purse wrongly will not be spared as it begins surcharging persons and organizations implicated in the annual Auditor General's report. 4 persons named in the report to have been involved in financial irregularities have been surcharged. At the close of the day yesterday, the Auditor General says 7 more will be added. He said that this is going to continue, even though he won't tell the media the names of the persons involved, and said that when he's done his work and the report is submitted to Parliament, we would know who and who are involved. Honorable Mutawakilo, let's start from here. This signals perhaps some motivation for the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament. When they sit and make revelations, we'll begin to see results from those revelations, isn't it?
Thank you very much. This thing has been in the pipeline for long. I could realize 2015 thereabout, when the Public Accounts Committee visited the former President Mahama, he indicated.
Every day, former President Mahama. If they want to bring the man back, what is this President Mahama? President Mahama?
Are you worried?
Are you saying a comfortable league?
Can you please?
I will always refer whatever initiative you have taken.
When we were talking about this other matter,
the President,
in the former President Mahama,
the President gave a directive that it is
time
his
spokesperson.
We hold those people responsible, and therefore ask the CJ to set up what we call financial courts.
We've had financial courts since 2000.
To handle,
but he was heckling.
I'm coming.
He has not
to handle recommendations from the Public Accounts Committee. The financial courts took some time because sometimes the CJ said the requisite personnel with the financial knowledge are not so much for them to set all of them at the same time. But I think
financial
can they handle all?
Ask my son to put your microphone
No
off.
problem.
That is what happened, and that is what I'm saying. Yes. If over the time they've been able to get this personnel to the various financial courts and action being taken, I think that is the right direction. Because if you take the action and at the end of the day, you don't have the appropriate way to quickly address them, then it's also another matter. And once the financial costs are put in place and actions being taken, I think it's in the right direction. Public servants, politicians, we must start being accountable for whatever we do, be it good or bad. So I think it's in the right direction, and he will get the support of Ghanaians as well as Parliament in this respect.
How would you react to some concerns that, well, it's too early, and so let's hold on and see how well the Auditor General will do?
Yeah, but he has made a move, and he needs the support of all of us. It is our support that will give him the motivation to move further. So we need to support him. Everybody we should come on board. We support him to be able to achieve it. This is the first hurdle. And if we support him to be able to execute it, it becomes easier and send a signal to several public officials.
I don't know if you're marking. Mr. Domelevo is proving himself. This is indeed what Occupy Ghana and every other Ghanaian has been asking for. We are getting answers now. Is that how you see it?
Well, it's a positive step. we are all not perfect. But if we decide at least to sacrifice a little bit of what we're doing for Mother Ghana, Ghana will be a better place. We have to commend Occupy Ghana for a good job done. When they started their activism, we know what the NDC told them. But at least they have been consistent.
What did they tell them?
I'm saying at least we know what the NDC tells them.
I don't know. Tell me what was said.
And today, they have been
Please
consistent.
tell me. I don't know.
Your other panel say he doesn't know.
Should I respond to him? Are you not the one who said he's a gentleman, he doesn't heckle?
But he's only asking.
But why would he have to heckle me? He should keep quiet for me to talk.
Okay,
now,
you go on.
they have proved to the whole world that they don't hold on to anybody's apron tail. They want the betterment of Mother Ghana, and they've been consistent. So let's commend them. In the past, the focus was on politicians. And politicians and politicians and politicians. But if you look at things very deep, you realize that it's a whole system. I don't want to sit here and say public servant and civil servant. It's a whole system. So if there is a way that the Auditor General can now enforce the law to the extent that if you are found to have misappropriated funds, the system is able to redeem, take back the money. Hallelujah. Rather, I am against a situation where we're going to have this civil forfeiture approach to enforcement. As for that, I'm against it.
Why?
Yes, because I hold the view that Article 18 in its form must be well respected, except where there is evidence. The criminal jurisprudence practice in this country is such that a person is innocent until proven guilty. So I would not want a situation where there's going to be an overstretch, where people will say that, well, the burden has been shifted. You own property. Prove to us that you didn't steal. I'm against that. I am against it. And if we go that tangent, there's going to be trouble. I am one of the proponents who believe that if there is evidence, pursue it. Follow the due process known to our criminal jurisprudence. But it shouldn't be a witch hunting form that, oh, somebody is a public servant. He's in a 4-bedroom house or he's driving Mercedes. You said, oh, because he's a public servant, he's driving Mercedes. He should prove to you how he acquired the Mercedes Benz. I say no. However, if you have evidence of probative value that Kojo Mensah, who is an assistant director or a deputy director, has stolen public funds or has abused his office and has acquired some property, and you can create a positive nexus, proceed. And there is some audit adverse findings against him, I do not have a problem. So that is the position I hold on this. But I commend Auditor General for
he has gone much deeper. What I understood is surcharging them.
Surcharging them.
And that means that an audit work has been done. Right. Queries raised, not properly responded to.
Because they have 60 days to appeal against the
not properly responded
I agree with you.
Yes. So that means they've done the audit, they raise queries, they are not able to respond properly to the queries. And they say, okay, if that is the case, refund. Bring the money.
That's fine.
I think that is what I understand it to be.
But
not to the extent of.
No, but if you want to also go after somebody's property, then this approach could also suffice. Where you have found him liable of having abused public funds, but you also know that he owns this property. He doesn't really have the cash. You can use the court process to pursue that one. Yes, to pursue. Yes, of course,
it's different from finding out how he came by that property.
Yeah, but that's why I caution against that.
Yeah,
because not too long ago, FIC and Iyoko had attempted. Not too long ago, FIC and Iyoko had attempted to create the impression that their enforcement laws or the laws they are operating with give them the power to create that impression. And I said no.
Let's quickly go to Johnny and come back. Johnny, good morning once again.
Yes, Senior Bright. Good morning.
What's in
one
there?
More time. Well, it's buzzing already. Michael Amini, UK, says the minorities' accusation that the finance minister doctored his mid-year budget review is merely hypocritical and unfounded. The minorities' press conference upon press conference is just to seek media attention and gain public sympathy and goodwill, but they are rather embarrassing themselves. So they should stop their constant destructive criticisms, because their behavior will not carry away the attention of the good governance by President Akufo-Addo and his government. The minority should let the interests of the nation override their own selfish partisan interest, and they should know that their credibility and reputation in opposition is diminishing, and it will come to a time Ghanaians will not take them serious. Good morning, TV3. President Akufo-Addo and MPP have already lost the 2020 elections in advance. 1, they lost the trust of Ghanaians in the diaspora. 2, they lost trust in traders. 3, lost teachers and teacher trainees. 4, lost nurses and trainee nurses. 5, lost public servants and civil servants. Corruption perception is high. Osman Burukuzon in Tamale. And NDC caucus in Parliament are on a mission to frustrate almost every proceeding which has the propensity to expose their fraudulent activities when they were in power. Ghanaians are discerning enough to differentiate credible opposition to an overly loud and confused opposition who are still suffering the blow of being knocked out of power from interpret Kuza. And the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo campaign of providing jobs for every citizen in Ghana. But to hear the kind of approach from the health minister to the picketing nurses at the health ministry is not a way Nana Addo told Ghanaians to believe in him. Yakubu in Wale Wale is worried. If the minister is not ready to employ the nurses, then the nation should be ready for fake side hospitals and abortion centers. He is threatening. A.U. Farouk in Tamale says the Minister of Health and the government must respect our nurses and get them the due posting. Good morning, Bright. The Minister of Health should be serious and fight for all unemployed nurses. It's not easy to pay huge fees and be in the house for almost a year. As of now, we still have NAC and NAP unemployed nurses in their houses. Should we always train nurses to leave them in their house? Well, I don't get that, but you're worried about the unemployed. KFT in Damongo. Every presidential aspirant promises creation of jobs, and yet when given the nod, they run away from their own promises. I think it's better to create their jobs when out of power and employ as many people as they can, like Dr. Pakwesi Indom. I support the New Patriotic Party, but I think Dr. Indom would be a better president if he should be voted for in the future. Seidu Mahmoud Sadat in Tamale. Hello, good morning. Is it right for a police person to stop a commercial car and just start a search into the passengers' bags and ladies' handbag, where he finds himself in a bag with pads, bras and pants with no IDs and a name tag? And when we asked why, he told us, I have right to answer and I wouldn't, have education on the issue. So he's saying that they've been harassed by a policeman. Good morning, TV3 and your able workers. I'm surprised at Honorable Afenyo Marking today, because before the election, he was the same person trumpeting unemployment and was on the government to employ everyone. Today, he's telling us not the government's responsibility to employ people from the private schools. They should endure quietly. I hope his nephew has gotten a job now. God is watching. David from Bolga. Bright, please tell our nurses to exercise restraint, because I strongly believe that the father of the nation will listen and address the plight. John Asiedu-Dartey in Winnipeg. Finally, good morning, Bright. I use a motorbike. How on earth will I leave my bike on the road when it breaks down? So why must I pay a levy for a service I will never enjoy? Why would the policy target heavy-duty trucks in interim? This toll levy is a lazy mind thought. Mark 2 in Bolga. Bright.
Johnny, we're grateful.
Council, did your nephew find a job?
That is what I was just asking.
No. That's,
my nephew has been posted. And government has no more backlog.
Yeah.
All those who completed in 2016 have been posted. It's a matter of fact. Why is the NDC not talking about it? Government has posted.
Look, we came out with a figure over 4,000 that were processing to post.
Can I finish my point? As we speak, no graduate from a public health training institution is sitting at home. It's a matter of fact. Do you want to debate on that?
I'm saying that.
No, would you want to debate on that? So
over 4,000 nurses
who was at home for 3 years
were to be posted long ago. When you came, you cancel it and restart, and you started all over again. You should have paid them some arrears. for cancelling their...
This is pettiness. This is pettiness.
No. If they were to be engaged in January 2017, you came and cancelled it, and they got it in May, there's some 5 months difference which you should pay back.
Right. Is it wrong for a new government to streamline and ensure that the right things are done? In his conclusion,
at the end of the day,
he says that it has been done. It has been done.
What I'm saying is that
so the exercise
we in NDC have been doing that. That's why we realized that it was good to expand the infrastructure. Tell me in your 8 years, how many hospitals have you been able to build from 201 to that? I just wanted you to let you know that the seriousness in engaging the nurses is with NDC than with
But you know that in 8 years, you were
borrowing. Which infrastructure are you posting them?
You were borrowing at 23%. You were issuing bonds at 23%. You know that.
I'm saying that is it not NDC infrastructure? What 23%?
Right. Gentlemen, I'm grateful for your Thursday morning. Honorable Adams Mutawakilu is a member of parliament for the Damongo constituency, a member of the NDC. And Honorable Alexander Afinyo-Markin is a member of parliament for the Futu constituency, a member of the NPP. Grateful for spending your Thursday morning with us. Hope to see you some other time.
Sometimes you do mischief.
I'm grateful for that. All right, stay with us. Those of you who send your messages, keep them coming. We'll read all of them. Stay here because sports is up next.
Me in studio is Divisional Officer Grade 1, Prince Billy Anaglate. He's also the head of PR with the Ghana National Fire Service. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
In recent happenings, we've had too many fires, and one that caught Parliament. And of course, that was a shocking revelation, because you had previously said that you couldn't even fight beyond a certain floor, beyond the 5th floor, but this was on the 10th floor, and you guys did awesome there. I was surprised. What happened?
Well, actually, the word was not we can't fight fires above 5th floor.
Right.
We were talking about the equipment that we use to fight fires, you know, on high-rise buildings that can take us only to the 5th floor.
Okay.
But with the training and expertise, we are able to do anything beyond 5th floor. That was what happened. That was a very good test to the fire service.
It definitely was.
And we proved to the public that yes, we are on top of our issue. What it is it is important that the fire service should be properly equipped to do firefighting, to be able to have what it takes to take us quickly to any floor above the 5th floor. That's what we see. With the job 601, we have to scale through the staircase. Right. I was there personally because of the nature of the fire in the building. From the 10th floor where the fire started, right down to the ground floor was smoke logged. Okay. So you have to walk through the smoke and get in there. That was a difficult one to do. So if we were to have equipment that could quickly, within a second, take us to the 10th floor, that would have been faster and easier for the firemen. But no matter the situation,
you make the best of it. But I mean, let's stay on that. See, people have argued that because you are, you know, used to, or you have a fair idea of how the Job 600 is, the structure, it was easy for you, even though you say you had some challenge, it was still easier because you have a fair idea of how the structure is. Supposing the same fire happened on the 10th floor of another building where you weren't too predisposed to how the structure was it going to be the same issue? Would you have fought the fire well like you did here?
Well, having a prior knowledge of something before getting there would definitely aid and assist you in whatever you do. Right. So I agree that yes, if we were to be any building that we don't have any knowledge, the design of the building, the type of material used in the decoration, what goes into that, it would definitely be a bit difficult than having a knowledge of what the exit situations are, the equipment in the type of usage that is in terms of materials, chemicals, and other things that are in there. But based on that, that is why we have been going out to do audits in all premises, yes, especially in high-rise building and some government, buildings are within, yes. So to enable us have a fair knowledge of all buildings. We might not have this knowledge of every building, but that is the reason why we go out doing first audits.
Okay. Yeah. So rightly, I mean, fire service has challenges, but I want to talk about challenges in terms of personnel, because oftentimes for me, it seems if people don't understand what they're going into, which currently is our situation because of unemployment. We've seen so many people who have been pushed into fire service who really are not passionate about that. Doesn't that have an influence on how you even work in the first place?
Exactly. Firefighting, it is not an easy task. Anybody might think that because I want to work, I'm looking for a job, and maybe that is the opportunity that I could just go into, be a firefighter. We have a lot of people that when they don't have the passion, I normally say that the call is a call that you get in there, because look at it, you are doing all that. Anything that you do, you are doing it in a situation that can easily affect your life. If you look at the fireman's prayer, it tells you that as I'm going, it's only God that can protect me. But even if I should lose my life, God should be with my family. And so with the prayer alone will tell you that this is the situation. So if you don't have the call, you are doing all that at the peril of your life. Who would like to lose his life or her life for another person? So it is difficult. So I only advise people that anytime anybody wants to join fire service, you should be able to understand the work properly before you come in. Situation that you come in, before you try to know what it entails, we have problems.
But would also like to know, what have been the engagements like? How well have you engaged government to, hear to your complaint of lacking equipment to fight fire?
Well, governments upon government, have tried their best to equip the fire service. But if you look at development, if you look at technological changes in the system, Ghana is developing very fast. Years back, we were not having this type of high-rise buildings in the system. That was the time that we were even giving certain equipment with the turntable that takes us to the 5th floor. Those times it was very useful because the buildings we were having, we were reaching to any of those aspects of the building. But now as things are changing, so with our relation to government in terms of equipment, it has been very good. But because we are having fast, development in Ghana, I should put it that way, it is becoming difficult. We are not meeting the resource
that you need for this time.
Exactly. That is the problem that we
but
have.
I'll stay on that question. So currently, looking at the recent development, what has government provided for you that you can say is appropriate to fight fire in this current dispensation?
Well, if we come to general firefighting, quite recently we have even 10 firefighting engines. Yes, that will assist us in fighting fire. But we are talking about various types of fires in various designs of premises. Today, anytime there is fire outbreak, even if it is in the market, even if it is in the community, there is a challenge of lack of accessibility. So if you are not able to access the fire, then you should be able to have an equipment that you can use from wherever you are standing. Now we have high-rise buildings as well, and some are even above 20 floors, and we have only that of a 5th floor building. So it is also important for us to have probably a hydraulic platform that can take us to 20 floors and above. That is what we are also asking, that those equipment like a helicopter that people use at other areas. If you really watch this recent fire at UK, where they were using a lot of helicopters and turntable ladders, but how many?
That's the Grenfell Tower.
Yes, exactly. But a lot of people died in that. So if they were not to have those equipment that were
many more would have died.
So it is important that we need equipment to even protect our personal, so it's a personal protective equipment. I just said that when the Job 600 fire occurred, we have to pass through smoke log area before we get to wherever the fire is. We don't have briefing apparatus for every single fireman to use. So those that use the briefing apparatus, yes, they might. Exactly. But what of those of us who were, are not having it? So it is proper that we protect ourselves before going to protect people. That is why it is also important. Anybody, anywhere should first of all be able to understand the rudiment of fire safety. We keep saying that 90% of all these fires are preventable. So why are we not preventing it? That is why it is important that you and I, wherever we find ourselves, we should be able to ensure that and be conscious of attitude of people that we work with.
Right.
Are they meeting the safety principles and measures within their premises? If we are able to do this, that even in the morning that I have to go out, I should take a few minutes to look around and see which electrical equipment that is on, that is not, so that we turn them on. Consciously we do this. We believe we'll be able to prevent a lot of fires.
Definitely. So let's stay on that. For me as an individual, what can I do, or what things should I have in place to help me fight even a little fire in my house?
Yeah, it is important that we should have certain equipment in our homes, because no matter what, even if the fire service is just behind your premises.
It will take some time for
Exactly. And again, for you also to deter the fire, you should deter the fire at a good time.
Okay.
So we normally ask that people should have a smoke detector.
Okay.
This is just a simple battery-operated smoke detector that in case you are even sleeping, because there are a lot of people that died in fire. It's not even the fire that kills them, but the inhalation of
smoke.
The carbon monoxide.
Yes.
So they don't even wake up to know that there is fire in their home. So you need to have a battery-operated.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looks very simple and portable.
Very. You can fix it yourself.
And
So,
how is there a fair idea of the price?
well, this thing it will not take. We have some that are 100 Ghana cedis and that you can buy. So you fix it yourself. You can just, if you are sleeping with the noise,
It will wake you. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, you will get up.
So one of these in your home, is that enough?
No, it should be in every room.
Okay.
It should be in every room because you don't know where the fire will start
Right,
from.
okay.
So as soon as there is slightest fire, it detects it. And then even if you are sleeping, or even if you are not even there, people within there, they will get to know, and then they can quickly call the fire service. Every home is supposed to have at least one fire extinguisher. This is for the car.
Yeah,
Will you be surprised if I say there are lots of people that have vehicles that they bought so much, but they can't buy this and they protect the vehicle?
Yeah.
There are a lot of vehicles out there, they don't have even
But when they go to DVLA, there are lines, I mean, they pass them through the system, they check these
so
things.
some of them are only forced to have it. But as to whether they ensure that it is working.
Or they know how to use it
They know
themselves.
how to, we've been told, yesterday we had a program for about 80 people selected from all media houses. Right. Unfortunately, I'm not sure I've seen anybody from TV3.
I'm sure
we train them into how they can be fire safety liaison officers in all the media houses. So they even came out to say that most of them do not even know how to use the fire extinguisher. But yesterday we took them through how they should be able to.
So definitely we'll do that some other time. But what other thing do you have there?
We also have a ball. Okay. It's a fire ball. You know, people find it difficult. They are scared. They panic when it comes to using of the fire extinguisher. Okay. But the fire ball, it is there. Yours is to make sure that you throw it into the ball, into the fire. Then it will explode automatically and extinguish it. When I was talking about lack of accessibility to fire, so even if you are not able to get to where the fire is because of maybe obstruction of harm, but yours is to throw it and make sure that it gets there and it will explode automatically. Okay. Anybody, irrespective of age, but with extinguishers, minors are not to be allowed to use it. But children can use it. It's just a matter of throwing a board into it, and then their job is done.
Very well. I'd like to thank you, Divisional Officer Grade 1 Prince Biliana Glate. Definitely, you've taught us something about fires, and I'm sure people will be excited. You've whet our appetites to learn more about firefighting. Anyway, that's all time we'll afford us. We'll take a break. We'll be back. Stay with us.
Oh my God, that's Bandana, now known as Shatawale, or Shatawale as we like to call him. SM. Good morning to all of you in the SM movement family. Anyway, so let's take some entertainment now. A sensational gospel icon, Nicholas Omanie-Champong, is known for his strange and attention-grabbing song titles, but is set to release his 6th album. Osuwara has been finding out, and he tells us that the Apostle Hitmaker is coming out with yet another controversial title. You got any guess? Take a look at this.
Nicholas Omanie-Champong is a household name when it comes to gospel music. His inspirational songs aside, the Hitmaker's titles have always been a major talking point.
Apostle. Tabita kum. Jafna Pania. Mahashala.
Apostle Ubejim. They are talking about Tabitha Kum.
2 years after his 2015 mega hit Apostle, the versatile singer is ready with a fresh album.
It's like a tsunami bomb. Bwah!
Expectedly, the new title is also jaw-breaking.
Can we hear the title?
Yagasahaduta. Or you can say it, Yagahasaduta.
We know a lot of people will be wondering, what's the meaning of this one too?
It's a name of a covenant. This covenant was between Laban and Jacob. So what the song is all about is that the one that God himself has a covenant with him, such as Abraham, there is nothing anybody can do to bring that person down.
For those who find Jagasahaduta mouthful to pronounce, you may say Aduta.
It's not a big deal. Just call it Aduta, and I will do the Jagasahaduta for you.
The singer is known for many things, but certainly not for singing in pidgin.
Now God did bless my work, oh, if you hate me, die you. Enemies no be God, oh, Abi.
The hitmaker explained after months of research, the Holy Spirit led him to the Bible, where the title Jagasahaduta was discovered.
Where can we find this word? This long word.
Let me keep this one for just about a week. You understand? It is there. It is right there. You understand? Jagasahaduta is right there.
Arrangers are currently fine-tuning the song ahead of its release. Celebrated programmer Kwejo Akwabwa arranged the song.
Anytime Nicola to hit, bam! There was an The Holy Spirit inspires to do whatever we are doing.
The 8-track album will be the Zapanet Pioneer Hitsmaker's first release in 2017 and is tipped to cause a major stir.
It's like a tsunami bomb. Bwah! Yagahasa Duta.
And I'll just say Aduta, so save myself all the trouble.
He's giving the short form.
Yes. But he's rapping for the first time. He's singing for the first time in pidgin, right?
Was that pidgin?
Yes.
Oh.
That's no. He has some pidgin elements.
But definitely, that Bright is giving us the
soundtrack
to Jagasahaduta.
Anyway, well, so lots of messages on the SNIT thing have come up. Bawa from Nkwatana says, why has the government failed to pay the arrears of 2015 teacher trainee batch and has gone around to pay 2016? Is it discrimination or political reasons? Now, it says, please, Controller and Accountant General Department have started putting wrong SNIT numbers on people's pay slip. It was for the same reason most workers were said to be ghost. We're begging them that they should try to do the things right. Idrisu in Tamale, please ask Honorable S.A. Safo Domi, okay, MP, Ajwa Safo, okay, Domi MP, to please try and look for the contractor working on the Pillar 2 roads to get them complete in time before the rain starts. And it says, I watched the show, it's a great one, a very great, good education from the fire service personnel. I will pay heed to it to help reduce fire outbreak in my environment. Said, good morning. I wish to congratulate the Ghana Fire Service for their immense effort in combating fire in the country. I also want to know if they are recruiting, well, we'll tell you. Good morning, TV2. I always enjoy the program. Big ups to you, especially Johnny Hughes. You're my role model. Thank you very much for choosing me as your role model. And, okay, so it says, I'm always amazed when I hear the MPP guys defending every situation in their regime now. I ask myself, are these the very people who were criticizing President Mahama in every thing he did? As Honorable Amaliba always saying now, the talk has changed. God have mercy on us from this government. Smay in Dan Soman. And good morning. I'm beginning to regret voting MPP into power. The utterances of the Minister of Health is a total shame. He couldn't have said it better. You went around diminishing President Mahama during your campaign just to gain vote from those nurses. In fact, the MPP lied to all of us. We shall kick you out like the way we kicked the NDC out of power. Patrick in cantonments. And Alhaji Mashud in Tamale says, this government is taking the nurses for granted. What does it mean you can't employ them? Isn't it an act of arrogance towards the nurses? Ghanaians are watching this government closely, you say. But these are photos that you should take note of. This looks like somebody who's saving with a certain bank. And his name is what? Esemini Faith. And he writes his account number. He says his branch is Onipanu. I think it's in Nigeria. It says he wants to withdraw everything from his account and everything in my account I'm not doing again. Yes, he has had it. He said, well, he's withdrawing everything in his account, right? He's not doing again. Yeah, it's not by force.
Put it in.
How this guy is behaving like Francis, our cameraman.
How has your bank treated you?
he's totally gone off.
He wants to withdraw everything. But today, just for the sake of throwback, this is Gary soakings. Yes. So there's Gary, there's sugar, there's milk, and there's groundnuts as well. You should have something like this for lunch today.
Chilled water.
Yeah, chilled and
is this healthy for those of us who are at our ages? Is this
what is
so far as you're not eating it frequently, I mean once in a while, everything.
I mean, school days you do a lot of work.
You remember back in the day when you come back from school and you were with your grandmother, they'll soak Gary for you. Yeah. And then they'll give you the remote to go and watch TV.
I think the idea back then was it will
make you sleep.
Concretize and then in your stomach you'll be fine. You just drink some more water and then you sleep. Yeah, you'll be fine.
Anyway, it's all good. Well, we got to wrap up now. It's Thursday. Enjoy and be good.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Yes. Did you see Shatawale's video, Bandana from Ghana?
He was dancing, didn't you see him? Anyway, guys, it's a wrap from here. We'll see you same time tomorrow.
God has done some for all of us.
Oh, he has. He's brought us far. Anyway, so we'll see you tomorrow. Stay blessed. Have a good day.